If you're an online coach looking to scale your business in 2025, you could have the best offer in the world, get your clients incredible results, but you'll never grow if you can't get attention and pull in a consistent stream of qualified leads. So, if that's you, you're in the right place. Welcome to part 4 of a 6-part mini-series where I'm sharing with you the lessons that I've learned from building my business from 0 to over 30k per month in the last 6 months. Without funnels, without having to do loads of cold outreach, and without having to fill up my diary with tons of sales calls every single day. If you haven't seen parts 1, 2, and 3, where we cover our simplified scaling model, our offer design, and how to actually get world-class results for your clients, it's critical that you make sure that you check them out first. Okay, today's video, I'm going to share with you my simplified blueprint that I've used to go from 0 to over 6 figures of cash collected in a matter of months with my last 2 businesses with only 5,000 followers. As a coach, I was bringing in multi-6 figures every single year at a point in time where I only had between 2,000 to 3,000 followers. I'm going to be honest with you, I really think that you should stick around for this one. If you want to transform not only your life, but loads of others' lives in the process and make cash at the same time in 2025, we've got some shit to cover. So let's just dive right in. So here's something fun to know. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, ally their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. This is such an important thing to understand because so many coaches miss out on some key aspects of marketing because in many cases they're scared. They're fearful. They don't want to be judged by strangers on the internet, which is all that they are, strangers on the internet. And I always like to think about marketing in such a simplified manner. You're trying to attract the people who are more like you, and you're trying to repel anyone that is not like you, that don't value the same things, that don't have the same interests, that don't speak like you. There's a reason why I swear, right, in my content. There's a reason why I talk about the things that I like. There's a reason why I show people the parts of me that are different from other authority figures inside of the industry. There are reasons to that because I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that align with that, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't. And those are the people I don't want to bring into my world anyway, because actually the people that don't align with you are like a toxin to your community. And actually, I've always known that the business that I want to build isn't just focused around the results that I get with people, but how I bring people together in the process as well. And anyone that doesn't match that vibe is genuinely like a toxin waiting to kill you when they come inside. It will disrupt everything. It will disrupt the vibe. It will disrupt how people feel confident to share. It will disrupt how forthcoming people are. It will just put a bit of a negative spin on everything if you ever start to bring people into your community that don't align with those values. And that is why, unlike many other mentorships, I will actually tell you that you're not for us if I don't feel like you actually align to who we are as people. Now, this was actually a bit of content that I put out there a while back, which was focused around me just sharing my opinion on the state of the industry and cowboys and people that don't give a flying fuck about actually doing this job. And it got something like 14,000 views. And coaches think being able to spread their message and being able to get new eyeballs on them requires them to fucking dance around their kitchen, get their arse out, or whatever it may be. That is not the case, right? You just need to have the right formula. And that formula lies in exactly this first statement. It lies in your transformation, right? So it's the transformation you've gone through and how it gets people to trust you. It's your stories because that gets people to actually like you. It's your enemies because it gets people on your side. Like, why would you not talk about the charlatans and talk about what you stand for and the injustices you see going on? Maybe you just don't have a strong pull or a strong need to talk about it because you like to stay indifferent. But I bet that you do have your own opinions, because I actually see that coaches who don't have opinions all of a sudden have opinions when they start to piggyback other coaches' opinions because it gets some views or it gets some traction or they like that person, but it then in return doesn't work for them because you can never put power behind something that you don't actually believe if it's not your own opinion. And if you're just doing it for the wrong intentions, which we've talked about throughout this entire series, and your opinions because it gets people to love you. And your last one here, which is so important, is desire marketing versus pain marketing. It gets the right people to work with you. And we are going to be talking about this in a lot more depth, especially in the next video, because pain-based marketing will make people invest in you who are looking to relieve immediate pain. Those are usually the people who are not yet ready to be coached. And it just becomes a headache for your entire business, because see when you've ran your business to date and you've said things like, it's always people who are paying the least amount of money or the people that aren't progressing that are taking most of my time. That might be because they're not actually open to being coached yet. And again, comes back to you selling them in at the wrong time and not being able to identify if they should have been sold into your coaching program or not. And that's okay, because we all have to learn new ways. The way that you've probably been taught if you've made investments into your business before is just to relentlessly and ruthlessly push. If anyone is willing to give you money, then take their money. I don't think of it the same way, because most people that tell you that and tell you that they only look for the right fits as well will literally fucking sell their soul to the devil just to make a bit of money. So the people who are telling you don't bring in the wrong fits, don't bring in the bad fits, are the very people who are actually bringing people on board just to make money, even when they know they're probably not in the right position to go on this journey of growth with their business at this moment in time, based upon where they are at psychologically. So it's important that we find a new way of doing things, and you can keep people in your flywheel system to nurture them to becoming better clients and making them offers that will get them closer to becoming clients. Because remember, you've got free offers, you've got behind the curtains offers, those trust transactions that make people become a customer before becoming a client. So again, they can kind of dip their toe in and they can feel more comfortable with you, and they can really see how this is going to benefit them. But again, the next video is going to be fucking insane, right? It's really going to blow your mind. So pain point marketing is things like, are you still struggling to lose weight? Are you struggling to get clients? Are you fed up, right, of going on dates with losers? This could be fed into any industry. Whereas desire marketing is, you want to get back into those old jeans that you wore in your 20s, ready to get 5 new clients to scale your business to 20K. Time to find that dream partner and build your empire with them. These are all desire marketing statements rather than pain-based, because pain-based in this day and age is often usually seen as something that, because you're pressing on someone's emotions and they respond emotionally, you should then sell from emotion, which, by the way, people do buy from emotion. They don't buy from logic, and you really shouldn't pivot them into their logic level of thinking. You may be thinking, but Mark, you said just don't be a dick. You're still pulling on emotion when you're selling from desire. So instead of it being like, oh, your self-worth like through the floor, that's shit. How often do you cry to yourself every day? How often do you look in the mirror and feel shit about yourself, right? That is playing on emotions in a bit of a fucking dickish way. Whereas desire-based marketing is, how can we work together to get you looking in the mirror and loving what you see? So it's aspirational, inspirational, I want this thing and I can feel how good it would be, versus making people feel even shitter about their current situation and predicament. So people remember stories, they don't remember facts. So in 2025, realistically, in order to build a cult audience of followers, you need to show people, right? You need to show people your world. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about your conviction. You need to talk about your journey. You need to talk about your results. You need to talk about your transformation. You need to talk about your identity, right? You need to talk about these things in story format, because these things give you a level of humanity about you, right? They allow you to connect to people. There's a level of vulnerability that people can get on board with. It can inspire people. You've then got the credibility aspect of things, that you can back up what you say you do and that you've been victorious even through hardship. You then have the core premise of what you do, and that gives people epiphanies through shifting their beliefs in your content, because shifting beliefs in your content is the very thing that will make people buy from you. And again, we're going to come onto this in a bit more depth and detail, because we've still got loads of juicy stuff to get through. But you need to have this core premise where you give people an epiphany and you make them realise, oh, fuck, that's actually why I'm not achieving this thing. That is the thing that I need to unlock to get to here. That is the thing that I'm missing. How could I have never seen that before? And now that they understand it, they might not actually know how to get it. And that is obviously where you come in, because they can now make sense of it. And you need to do this in such a way that allows people to come on a journey with you. I always like to think of it more so from the perspective of, you know, X Factor back in the day. X Factor used to bring people on with these sob stories, and you would remember them. You would remember their stories. You would remember as they progressed through the process and as they started to get to the finals. You would want them to win because of their stories. Because people rarely really buy into you for how you do something, but it's more buying into you, who you are, and why you do it. So this is where I really need you to shift this perspective away from trying to fact check people, tell them what protein swaps to make, tell them what low-calorie recipes to provide themselves at the weekend for fakeaways. Like, those things can be useful in some degree, but it's not showing people your true value. But this is also why you have to be a better coach, because if you don't understand people's behaviours, beliefs, things on a deeper, more transformational level, you will sound like everyone else. You will fit in to the same crowd as everyone else. You will be in a market of 100,000 plus instead of being in a market of one. Because even when coaches used to follow me on social media before I started working with coaches, many of them would reach out and ask me, how do you write the way that you do? How do you speak about these things in the way that you do? Many of the coaches who watched me back then would never have bought from me because it was under the wrong pretenses, but have bought from me now because they looked at me and they thought, how does this guy speak about things in the way that he does, in this manner, and highlight things in such a way where even it's got me thinking about myself? One of the coaches that we recently took on actually said to me, I was going to reach out and invest in you even though I didn't need coaching, but it was just how powerful your message was. So this is where you need to understand that you need to have a story framework that includes all of these things. Not just this cult formula here, right? But it also needs to be this over here. It needs to be these 5 things. It needs to be this stuff. You need to include everything here. Because if you don't include this stuff here, then it's no wonder people aren't buying from you, because how are they supposed to trust you? How are they supposed to get on board with you? How are they supposed to understand who they're investing in? How are they supposed to trust you? Now, this is where we need to be talking about different things in our content to meet these different stages of awareness. We've got problem aware, problem unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, trust earned. Now, this is the 5 stages of awareness that people go through when they go to buy from you. Now, we're going to go into this even deeper in the next video to show you how it matches up to the trans-theoretical model of change that I spoke about in previous videos. Now, the stages of awareness are important to understand. Why? Because people at problem unaware don't really give a fuck that they've got a problem, right? They're not really aware of the problem. They don't really actually know what the issue is. And they might walk up 5 flights of stairs and be out of breath and be like, oh, yeah, that's weird. Like, I used to be able to run up these stairs, but yeah, that's cool. Must have just had a big breakfast and it's lying in my stomach. They might try on an old pair of jeans and they don't fit, and they're just like, fuck, must have ate a little bit too much of the weekend, right? So they kind of brush it off. People at the problem aware section usually understand, right, I have a problem, but they don't actually understand what the real problems are. So let's say someone gains 30 kilograms and they want to lose it, and they're aware that they have a problem. They've gained 30 kilograms, but 30 kilograms is a symptom, right? You don't just wake up 30 kilograms overweight. So it's all of the things that happened along the way that made them gain 30 pounds that are actually 30 kilograms, 30 pounds, whatever those things were, they are the real problems. And that is why you need to be able to shift beliefs in your content, because if you don't make people look at things in this way, it actually sets the wrong precedent for them coming on board into your coaching program. So if you're convincing people it's all about low-calorie swaps and fucking calorie banking for the weekend, and then they can't do it because what you're doing is basically prescribing things to solve symptoms of problems, then the real problem will never be fixed if you don't actually look at the root cause of what has caused the symptom to be a thing in the first place. You need to be thinking on a more intelligent level. Then solution aware. Solution aware is where people are actively, right? They are actively trying. These are the people that make the best clients. These are the people who are already going to the gym, right? They are putting in a bit of effort. They're going to classes. They're going hill walks. They've started getting out walking regularly daily. They've tried to tidy up their nutrition. These people are aware that there's another way to do things to fix the problem, the perceived problem that they have. But again, are usually missing out on the real core causes. Might be focusing on some of them, not all of them, but are putting in an enormous amount of effort or what they perceive as an enormous amount of effort, and not getting back what they perceive they should for their efforts because they're missing things, right? So they're trying, but they're missing many things that would actually allow them to unlock what they want. So their efforts are outweighing the results that they're actually achieving. then that's when people at that stage are like, right, we need to look for the solution here. They become product aware. They become aware of you, a coach that could help them. But they need to see not only just the transformations that you get, but they need to see the journey that you take people on, because they need to be able to see themselves and your current clients. That's why before and afters now don't tell the entire story. You need to also include case studies. Then when people are most aware, they're like, take my money. Don't care how much it is. Just what ways can I pay X, Y, and Z? So this is where you need to understand these stages of awareness. But when it comes to content, we create different types of content based upon the stages of awareness that people are at. So you've got growth-based content, which is new eyeballs that you're trying to get on you, and conversion-based content, which is belief shifting. Now, you would primarily focus on problem unaware and problem aware for growth. Whereas for conversion stuff, you would focus on solution aware, product aware, and most aware. Why? Because the people at the bottom end of the awareness stages are not fully at this point in time ready to take action, right? They'll actually be weighing up whether or not it's even worth it, especially those who are brushing it off because they don't want to be aware of the problem that they actually have, because right now it just doesn't feel like something they can focus on because of everything else that's going on around them, or it's not signified in life yet to be such a problem that they know they need to change it and do something about it. So growth-based content and conversion-based content will all shift beliefs, right? This is what's so important to understand. They will all include belief-shifting types of content, but the growth needs to be done in such a way where you create content that has breadcrumbs left behind that showcases that it performs highly from other people in your niche, and then you make it your own. This is where people miss a trick entirely, right? So people will usually focus on ChatGPT. They'll get their ideas from there, even though ChatGPT and other AI needs to be fed information to think like a human. So the first problem is you're using it without feeding it information. That makes it think more like a human. The second thing is you're actually running with what it's given you as if it's a solid plan to help you grow your business, right? You need to do market research through something like Viral Finder, because once you do this, right, and I tell our coaches this all the time, they absolutely need to focus their time and focus their energy on understanding what type of content is high performing, right? And this is where usually you maybe would have thought that I don't want to jump around my kitchen. I don't want to do all these viral trends and all this sort of shit to get more eyeballs on me. That's what you perceive it to be because you've not actually done your research. Your marketing department in your business will probably take up about 50% of your business. The other 50% is roughly in delivery. So you need to take it more seriously. So you need to do a level of market research where you can find breadcrumbs and trails from other successful people inside your niche that are getting a lot of eyeballs on them and the content that they've created and why that content has performed in the way that it has. Because I'll tell you one thing, once you start to do this research, you will see similarities, you'll see patterns, and then you need to test it in your own way. And you need to create, honestly, I would say here, like I put here, you need to create about 100 pieces of content to test what works to find the winning formula. And I would recommend, if you can, to get an editor, right? You need to study the content that you find through your market research and you need to make it your own. You need to make it your own. It can't be a case of, right, I'm just going to copy the entire thing. Pretty sure, who was the guy? I think it was William Scott who copied James Smith's YouTube video word for word for the entire thing, right? Don't do that. Don't be a dick, right? It's all about making it your own. And this is what we teach inside of Built for Coaches, and it's working. We then also want to have a ManyChat automation in place to remove funnels, right? Because remember, flywheels are more effective than funnels. Flywheels are more effective than funnels because it removes complex steps from your business that don't need to be there and give your business another opportunity to fail. So what we want to do is we want to market research, test 100 times to find a winning formula. Once we've found that winning formula, remember what I said before about the one simple ad protocol, that essentially the best pieces of high performing organic content make the best ads. So if we can then put paid ad spend behind something that's already top performing, we then usually get more eyeballs. And essentially on that piece of content, we would love to have some form of call to action to a free offer or long form piece of content, such as a VSL, like a video sales letter for people to know more about you, which entirely shifts the beliefs of the people who are watching that. And it means that when someone comments in that post, especially from an organic perspective and a paid ads perspective, they then funnel into ManyChat, right? So it's a ManyChat trigger that then brings them into an email sequence. So now you have their contact details. You're able to make offers behind the scenes and take them through a get to know me sequence and even potentially a sales sequence to make offers to people in private without disrupting what you're doing in public. And that ManyChat automation can then also be set for follow-ups as well, but it's not only capture their details without the needs for funnels, but it's also then going to follow up with them and push them towards application if they feel off the back of what they've consumed from you based upon that offer is valuable enough to say, okay, actually, I really like this. Let's find out more and apply to work with this individual. And that is what you essentially want to be able to create on repeat. Now, obviously, within this, that sounds incredibly simple, and it is incredibly simple once it's fully up and running and fully operational. But there's obviously loads of things that need to be part of this whole process and components of it that need to be brought together for it to work in such a streamlined manner and for it to work in a way that actually runs effectively and generates the results that you want to see. Because this guy said it best. This guy said it best. If you know who he is, brilliant. Right, he's Sabri Subi. The best performing ads are taking organic posts and amplifying it with paid ads. Nothing beats that. Sabri Subi. I ran a test where I paid almost £30,000 on ads for fuck all. And it was a guinea pig test. It was to basically find out what worked and what didn't. And nothing worked quite as well as putting already high performing pieces of organic content with paid spend behind them to get more qualified followers and to get more people into the flywheel. So this is why this is so goddamn important, because marketing will always cost you something. This is always so important to remember. Marketing will always cost you something. Right, it will cost you time, it will cost you effort, it will cost you energy, right? It will cost you to take the time to post it, to advertise it. But if you get the foundations right and see the next step as an investment rather than this is going to cost me money, you'll be in a far more effective position to actually make a high level of return on your investment versus feeling as if you're just boosting things or putting paid spend behind media that isn't actually going to perform and bring you the thing that you want. So this is where we have to take into consideration how we can use this process of market research, study, creation, test, experimentation to find what's working, to then get the flywheel fully operational in such a way where we have found the winning formula that has worked on repeat time and time again. So here's the 20K roadmap. Let's simplify this to finish off. So create organic content, right? There's breadcrumbs everywhere. So important. And a lot of it. If you can't even post 3-4 times a week, you really need to up your game. Automate collecting leads with ManyChat flows and redirect prospects to your long-form content, right? To build reciprocal equity. Remember, the goal here is to build reciprocal equity, to build trust with your audience that they haven't built with other people in your marketplace because other people aren't doing this. And the ones that are, the select few amount of people who are winning. Amplified based organic posts with paid media, right? We would recommend what we describe as a scale tax, which is 15% of whatever you earn to go back into your marketing budget the following month. Obviously, you can start lower and then build up over time. But if you want to scale, there is a tax that comes with that. And again, there's money that needs to be reinvested back into different departments in your business to make that possible. Nurture through email and redirects to, again, long-form content, reciprocal equity. And then you make offers, right? Through that long-form content, you make offers through your email. You make offers on socials to funnel people into these places. You make better and more high-performing pieces of content based upon the winning formula that gets more people into your world through the ManyChat automation. So again, you're nurturing more and more and more people for a prolonged period of time. So there's better people who are ready to buy from you at the time in which they're going to buy, rather than trying to force sale the very like low-level lack of leads that you have because you don't have a fucking clue where the next one's going to come from. This game needs to be approached differently, and then you repeat. This is why this process and this system is so simple, because when you get it fully operational up and running, all you have to focus on after everything is built is delivering a fucking incredible level of service to your clients and marketing the fucking thing. That is it. Okay, that is us. If you found this video valuable, make sure you've hit the like button and subscribe for the next one that's coming. But if you've not taken me up on my insane gift yet, you're fucking crazy, especially if you're serious about growing your online business. So if you've stayed here till the end, we've got a free school community for coaches. So if you join now through the link in the description below and you DM me the secret passcode MONSTER, I'm keeping these passcodes interesting, by the way, I'm going to unlock for you our mini course built to scale that covers this in more depth and detail. It's usually £99 and it will be rising to $199 in the near future. So if you want to stop fucking around and get some incredible stuff for free, you know exactly what to do. And in the next video, it's time to talk about sales. I'm going to share with you exactly how I sell people on the idea of working with me before even having a sales call, and often selling them in the DMs. If that sounds good, I'll see you in the next one.